just the need for efficient leadership and changing times. This session really is going to be a great dovetail to that first session. We have here
conversations about learning.
And there's a cold competence and this approach.
I don't know what it said, but that's what I'm doing.
All right.
How about that?
Okay. Now.
But look what I made from yours.
See, now wait a second. Ooh, there we go. So right there, the first thing you go ahead and see and hand it out are a card and a term, 3 P's and an A. Connection. Connection, there it is.
Connection.
That's what I left off with my session. And we're going to go ahead and get a chance to practice it, okay? The other piece is that first and foremost, you thought I had like some background on this type of work, but Dr. Baltimore Williams actually went and did research. Collectively has been doing this work throughout the region, starting in Philadelphia, but making her way through various counties in Montgomery, Delaware County, and she's coming here with her level and body of expertise to share with you today. So, ladies and gentlemen, can we go ahead and have a quick round of applause for Ms. Dr. Baltimore Williams, BFW for short.
Yes, yes, yes.
Here we
That's my
go.
initials. You like that, right?
Indeed.
I love children. How are you? I usually am working with adults lately, and I feel like this is a great treat for me. I do work with some students in North Penn School District. If you've ever heard of that, it's in Pennsylvania. We're doing some work with high school students there. Because here's my hope out of today. I have a hope. I always have a hope. That when we leave here, we have a little more information about how to talk about race, or how race is happening in this country, how we can, you all are our hope for the future. Turn to somebody and say, I'm the hope. Right now. Turn to somebody and say, I'm the hope. You're the hope. I tell you why you're the hope. Because the grown-ups right now are having a hard time around race in this country. Would y'all agree? They're kind of struggling with what should be happening, and every year's talk of racism and all of those things, and people are calling each other names. And so as I work with children, which I'm going to call you children because you're old enough to be my child. I'm old enough to be your mother, probably your grandmother. I have, let's see, I have a granddaughter your age. I do. Her name is Kiara. She's my sweetheart. She's in art school right now. So we're going to work through some things, but the packet I gave you, I only have 2 objectives really. The first objective is to try to figure out how we can, if I can get to it over here. I can't find my cursor because I think it's up on your thing.
No, you got it.
Let's see if I can say. There you go. By the time we finish, and so I'm going to do some strategies because I'm a teacher. I've been a teacher all my life. I like movement in the classroom, so you're not just going to sit there. You're going to talk, you're going to walk, you're going to do some things together. But I want you to first, in order to get ready to talk about race, you have to be clear about who you are, right? Would you agree? Like centered in yourself, what is going on. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to have a little conversation across, and I'm looking, I see some difference in the room, because in cultural proficiency, you're supposed to notice the difference. Like I notice who's African or Black or African American. I notice who I think is Latino. I notice who I think, I'm not sure, is white. I'm not sure. But here's the truth. When we are talking cultural proficiency, we notice the difference makes. Turn to somebody and say, notice the difference makes. We're not trying to be culturally blind. We're not trying to say all people are the same and they all look alike. Because whatever your difference is, you bring it into the room, don't you? You bring your race, you bring your language, you bring your family, you bring your values, you bring all that into the room. And what's a mistake is thinking I should treat all of you the same. I should look at you all the same. That's what we were taught a long time ago. Like, I don't see color. I don't see anything. I just see human beings. The truth is, that's a lie. That's just a lie. You do see it when you walk in the room. You see everything. So we're going to spend just a short time, one on this first circle, because this is what I call the identity wheel. You didn't do that with them, did you?
No, I didn't.
Perfect. Okay. So, you right here. You're good. You're welcome. And hi, Anani. I'm going to say names right. Hi, Anaya. Miriam. Karima. Marissa. Paulina. You didn't make one? Okay, no, I gotta have names, because if you know my name, I gotta know your name. No, we don't play like that. I don't do that with grown-ups. I had a grown-up one time in a workshop, a teacher wrote Donald Duck, so I called him Donald Duck the whole time. Yes, I did. I was like, okay, you wanna be Donald Duck? He changed it about midway through, but I just kept calling him Donald Duck, because you thought that was funny. Y'all think kids are a mess? Grown-ups are a mess. I've been working with grown-ups for how long?
Long time.
20 years.
Long time.
So, with Rocio, Diana, or Diana, which one, right? Hablo un poquito español, and I will try, right? And you are?
Matthew.
Hi, Matthew. We're going to burrito in. That's what somebody taught me yesterday. That's hot dog. The other is hamburger. Yesterday, I learned burrito. You make a burrito. I thought that was so cute. Because it stands up better. Burrito. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. We're going to start right in, because I don't have long. Do I? What time is this over? Can everybody read this together? Because this is my story when we're talking about race and culture. Everybody say it together. Always can find somebody to blame, can't you? Something to blame, can't you? I'm saying it's not useful. I'm saying we need to figure out how to make solutions out of this mess we're in. I think we're in a mess. I think I'm going to help get it out. So, I still can't find. These are our agreements. These, you have on a little card that I'm going to let you take home. Turn that card over to the agreements. Everybody together, I'm going to say the first part, you're going to say the second part. We're going to stay what? Here's the deal. We're talking about race, and it comes from a book called Courageous Conversations About Race that Dr. McGriff and all the administrators meet with me once a month. They've been meeting for 2 years to learn how to have conversations about race. And what kind of conversations? Can you read that? Courageous. How many of y'all know it's kind of courageous to talk about race, especially in mixed groups? We're okay when we're talking to our own people, aren't we? But then when we get in a mixed group, it gets all funky, doesn't it? Yeah, well, we're going to try to figure that out. So in this book, there are these 4 agreements. So I'm going to say the verb, you're going to say the rest are. We're going to stay what? Engaged. Because we're not going to jump back and not say anything once it gets a little iffy. We're going to experience what? That's scary. That's the scary part. And I want you to carry this card with you, because I want you all to be racial equity warriors. Turn and say, I'm a racial equity warrior. Warrior. Like, you're not going to be scared. You're going to be the ones that go, we can talk about this, okay? So the third one is we're going to speak what? Your truth. Here's what we do. How many of you heard the term politically correct? Like, I'm not really going to say what I mean or what I feel. I'm going to say what people think I should say. Well, what we have learned is that's not really good to do in these conversations. You need to speak your truth, but acknowledge that somebody else may have another truth.
Right.
How many know what I'm talking about, right? You know, like, yeah. Okay, so we got that. Then we're going to never be, my grown-ups hate number 4 because it says expect what and accept what? Like this is a journey. This is not like today we're finished talking about this. We're going to be talking about this. And I'm sorry I didn't get your name. Toyka. Toyka, that's a great name. And thank you. I love when I see names I've never seen before, like Inanya. Anaya. Anaya. I need to phonetically put it in my head. I've seen, no, I don't think I've seen Gio. Gio?
I'm one of a kind, right?
You're one of a kind. Karima, I know some Karimas. Miriam versus Marianne to the end. Okay. I'm straight old Barbara. I'm boring. That's why I named myself BMW, because that's Barbara Williams, right? And when I'm in the school district, they call that one, they go Barbara Williams, like it's one word, Barbara Williams. Okay, so here we go. The last thing is the last thing. I'm so upset that my cursor's not here, but I'm just going to. Let's read this out loud for me, please. Let's start at the beginning. We walk. Go ahead.
Carrying all the messages that we have received by ourselves.
Stop right there. Is that true?
Yes.
We kind of come into this room with all the messages our mothers, fathers, grandmothers taught us, right? Keep going.
from those we love, our experiences and media.
Read that last one 3 times. And the what? Say it again. Say it one more time. Y'all are in deep trouble. This social media stuff is overwhelming to me. You know, when I was in high school, in order for me to say something to somebody bad, I had to be like what? Face to face, right? Which kept me from saying a lot of stuff because I was chicken. I didn't really like to fight. And so I never said much of anything to anybody because I didn't want to make anybody mad. Now you can say that stuff on the internet and you don't even have to see the person. And then you all go back and forth 4 or 5 times. This is crazy. Your children are going to hate you. When you all have children, y'all need to figure this out because it's scary. Okay? So that's what I want you to say. Last line, please, everybody together. We perceive the world. Yes, we perceive it through these lens, this lens. And this lens is every message that we've received from ourselves, others, we love, experiences. This is how we walk through life. I'm going to ask you today, in about 20 minutes, to just step out of that lens and move into somebody else's lens, just for 5 minutes. Is that good? 5 minutes. Come on up, Bo. We don't have anybody in the back of my class. They're far away. Yes, right here. And you need a paper. And whoever just came in, you're going to stay for a minute. Oh, you need the paper?
Can I get a copy of that book?
Oh, sure. You mean to take a picture of it or something?
No, wait. Twice.
What's my dad? Oh, look. No. Is this about, you see how worn it is with my tabs and okay. So let's go with what's in front of you, if we will. What's in front of you right now looks like this. Find it.
I didn't know if that.
You need a pencil or a pen. Do you need one?
Can I get a pen, please?
Pretty sure.
Actually, I do have a pen. Never mind.
What is it, sharp? Is that already there?
What's this do? This is not doing
Can you get
anything.
you one? Yeah, I can fix it.
No, there's no tips on it.
Oh. Here, there's a pen. I got one. You need a pen? I have one, but I need a pen. No, it's fine.
You're good? Just make sure you give it back. You promise? You promise? Yeah. Thank you. Y'all some pretty girls.
You know what that's?
I had boys, and I was looking for it.
She needs a
But
pen.
my granddaughter's pretty good. Yes. No, because you got
My
it
favorite
right.
pen. This pen, everything's
Y'all
stolen.
came to a workshop without, thank you, you prepared.
I got
Because people been talking to y'all all day? Y'all haven't had to do anything?
This is my favorite pen.
Okay.
I'm
Happy?
Somebody take my pen.
Okay, I have all these pens and pencils.
Somebody take my pen.
Does everybody have one now?
Somebody take my pen again.
You have one? Okay, let's go. Are you ready? Say I'm ready. Because in my classroom, you got to talk back to me. We have to have conversation.
Cool.
So the first thing that we're going to do is, this is called a social identity wheel. Everybody say that. So let me tell you the what and why, because the brain is always seeking to figure out what am I doing, why am I doing it. So the what is to get you to see for yourself a sense of how you have identified in some areas, not every area, just some areas of your life. Will you agree? Then when we get to talking to each other, I'm going to ask you to be thinking about somebody else's life and somebody else's experience. Who can say why I'm going to do that? Why am I going to put you with somebody else and let you talk about some things on this
That
wheel?
way you can see what different people's backgrounds are.
Right. Go ahead.
Cause I know that like not everyone's the same. Like you might look at someone and be like,
Absolutely.
you know, like in a like we're all humans, you know, we're all like judgmental, so we might look at someone.
Absolutely. As we do.
Yeah.
And here's what I've learned through my 20s. Not even tell you how old, because y'all be going, why is she still doing this? She's so old. I was at a workshop with some secretaries Monday, and they spent the whole time trying to figure out how old I was.
You are not old.
Oh, see, I'm loving you. I don't even care that because I would say things like, I have a son who's 30, so they would count like, okay, she's 30, he's 30, and let's say she had her 25. then I said I had a granddaughter, and I said she was 18, and then they tried, oh wait, maybe the 30-year-old is not. I was like, you're supposed to be paying attention. And I went to one table, and they had actually written down how old they were betting, like money, like $5 on how old I was, instead of listening to what the heck I was saying. So here's what I want you to do. Don't ask me, I might tell you when I go. I want you to start at race.
You won't be 35.
35. My father actually told me I could be 29 for the rest of my life. So race, I want you to put black, white, and or whatever you call race, not ethnicity. I don't want to see African American, Latino. I'm gonna let you decide, because we've had some conversations, but I'm gonna let you decide. Race, write something in there. What is your race? What do you call yourself? Don't look at anybody else's yet. Okay. Now we're going to ethnicity.
Define race.
Right, oh good, okay. Thank you for the question. Somebody wants to know about race. So this is my 3-minute lecture on race in this country. Are you ready for my 3-minute lecture? Oh, are you ready? Race in this country, who knows when race started in this country? In the United States, not anywhere else.
After slavery.
After they brought over.
Right, when folks were enslaved, kidnapped, these are the words I want you to use, right? They decided to make sure that those enslaved people were able to be separated from the other people, because when it started, there were other people who were serving and called indentured servants, and everybody was doing it. So then they decided, well, the way we can separate is what? Color. Say it to yourself. Color. That's what they did. This is no maybe. People don't like to say it in your history classes. I don't even know, but I've been studying history, and I've been studying African American history and United States history for about 50 years. That's the truth, since I was a little girl. I'll say that real quick. And so if we know where race started now, it's a made-up thing. It's called a socially constructed thing. Because the truth is, your DNAs, and I know you all have studied this, are closer than a color thing. Have you all looked at that or heard that? Like my DNA and his may be closer than my DNA and yours. So it's not a physiological thing, it's a physical thing. So they called us black and white. That's all it was in the beginning, black and white. Indigenous people had to fit in one of those categories. You know, if they were dark, Native Americans, they were called what? Black. If they were light or white Native Americans, they were called what? White. That was all it was. So race became that. Now, when I've done a lot of work in this work with Latino people and other people, Asians, there's still a race concept in your, because I'm looking, in your communities. Would you agree?
Yes.
Are you agreeing? Right? So I don't know whether you call yourself white Latino, or I go to Puerto Rican hairdresser, I've been going there for like 25 years, and she says there's absolutely black Latinos and white Latinos. So that is still race if you want to call it. So I'm not going to tell you what to put in there, but you put something in there. Does that clarify that? It's really color. It's really separated by color in this country, only in this country. But you can put Latino, you can put whatever you want. Let's keep going. Ethnicity is that. African American, Latino, ethnicity, go. Put your ethnicity in there. You see it? It might not be in this order. You got an ethnicity. Good. This is easy. Middle class, upper class, lower class. What do you call yourself? Right?
No, it's not working.
It's not working? It is. It's not working. Oh, this is cute. This is a joke. Are all of these a joke? Yes. It's okay. No, I found there's something else down here. I'm just being. Keep going around if you can. Nobody brought pencils. I had to dig. Clearly, they haven't been writing in these workshops. All right. Are we here? Raise your hand if you're here, you put something in here. Yeah. Upper class, lower middle, middle upper. Did you put something? Okay. Gender, which is different than sexual orientation. Please put it, I won't ask you to talk about it unless you want to talk about it, but gender is male, female, etc. Sexuality is hetero, homo, whatever you are. You got it? No bad, no good. It's just a difference. Are you there? Age. Put your real age. When I work with grown-ups, they don't want to put their real age. They put middle age, older. National origin. Where were you born? Where were you born? We're almost there. First language. That's pretty clear, right? What is your first language? Some people have a first language, a second language. You got it? This one is a little tricky. Are you with me? Say I'm with you.
I'm with you.
Okay, that one, where it says physical, emotional development ability, some people put ADHD in there, dyslexic. They could be, my son has Tourette's syndrome, so he puts Tourette's syndrome. Some people have other things. Or you can put physically able, like nothing physically or emotionally is going on with me. And I don't want to call it normal, regular, because all of those things are normal, regular, right? It's just some people have other things. Have you ever seen anybody with Tourette's syndrome? Yeah. It's not bad with him now. It has been bad with him in his life. Oh, no, that's what. Religious or spiritual affiliation. If you have none, some people put none, some people put Catholic or Protestant or Baptist, some people put I'm just spiritual. Put whatever you think. Good. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I have something for you to put in the middle here for a minute, so give me a minute. You got to identify something.
Oh, it is.
Okay, I want you to put a star, here it is, okay. Circle an identity on there that you think about a lot. Like when I wake up in the morning or I look at the news, probably the first one I think about is that I'm African American, right? Sometimes I think African American and female. So put a circle around the one that you think of as you move around in the world. You just think about this one. This is how you are seen in the world somehow. Got it? Next thing, put a check next to something you rarely think about. I rarely think about being able-bodied unless I'm around people who are not. So something that you rarely or never think about. Good. Now, last two. These are important. Some of these things are an advantage to you. Like, it's good to be this in your life. So we're going to put an A next to that. Like the world is looking at you positively through this, or you're feeling like this is an advantage to be this. And if you don't have one, don't worry, because then the D is going to be for disadvantage. D is for disadvantage. For me, I give you my example always. A disadvantage right now for me is being African American because I worry about my boys. I worry about what's going on with all the males in my life. I think, it's kind of scary now for them. So for me, this is me, not anybody else, being African American right now versus 30 years ago when I was feeling pretty good about it is just scary. Okay, everybody have something. Good. You're going to stand up with your pencil. Everybody up. Don't move yet. Let me tell you where to move. I'll tell you where to move. And you need your card and your paper and a pencil. There you go. That's what you need. I don't have a card. You don't have a card. Plenty of cards. Which card? Yes. All right. You're going to find somebody who doesn't look like you. That's my first thing. And probably is different in at least a couple of those circles. So male, female is good, Latino to African American is good, anything else you want. And do you call yourself white? I don't like to name people, I like them to name themselves, so let's go. Just a partner, don't do anything yet, just find space by yourself, like sit on top of the things, but sit with your partner. With no barrier in between. These desks are hard. You can, sit on top of the desk. I don't want you to be kind of separated from each other. Well, no, they don't. You got it right. Okay. Now, hold up. This is important. I want you to go to the side that says 3 P's and an A. Now, the biggest gift I'm giving you today that Dr. McGriff talked about, I learned this in a workshop about 15, 18 years ago, and it has changed my interaction with people dramatically, because here's what we know. When we are talking to people, we don't listen to understand, we listen to reply. Turn to somebody and say, it's hard, but we don't listen to understand. Say that to somebody. We listen to reply. How many of you all know that's true? Oh my goodness, it's so true. So today, when we have this little 5-minute conversation, that's about how long it's going to take. I hate these desks. You all do not still have these desks. Y'all need to be shot. These are the most, I think they were built to torture you all. It's all wrong, it's all.
This is our reality.
Okay. I know, I'm in your reality. Because I was just in another district with another reality. So.
That could be a whole
Woo! In fact, your high schools now don't have desks. They have tables. Because desks are like old.
My dad said he can't fit in the desk, he needs a table.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. On this card, I want you to put a star next to probe. Got it? Because while we're listening, you're on the wrong side. While we're listening, I'm going to A-B you. A is going to talk about, I'll tell you which one, or one, but they're just going to give it a story. B, you're going to be listening hard to ask a question to make the person talk more. You are not going to start your own little cute story, because that's what we do. We hear something and we'll go, oh, me too, yeah, my story. So you interrupt people. Raise your hand, you know I'm telling the truth. People don't get their whole thought out. I've been practicing for 20 years and I'm much better, because my husband and my friends used to say, you don't even let me finish a sentence before you have something to say. Some people know some people. I saw some people hitting some people, right? Okay, so you're going to A be yourself. Somebody be A. You practice or you be B. I'm going to be A. You're sure. A. You're going to pick race or ethnicity, and you're going to think of how it affects your life. It can be a story about an event. It can be in general. This is how I'm feeling about being this. I will model for you. I always do. So the one I put, race and identity, kind of go together. So everybody's watching me. You're talking. I'm gonna practice the P. Yes. So tell me. You don't talk. No. Okay. I'll model for you. Because sometimes people don't like to talk out loud. That's why I make it pairs, right? I love to talk out loud. Anybody else in the room love to talk out loud? It's fine. It's okay. My best friend is you, and that's why I love her. We're the opposite. Now, so you're going to listen to ask a question. Are you ready to do that? So, African American and female in this country has been really hard for me. So in my life, right now, if I stand up in front of an audience, I'm always aware of who's out in the audience. And so sometimes it's all white people, and I'm talking about race, and I'm talking about things that people don't want to talk about. I feel I have to get myself together, like, because it feels funny. I know that I feel like they're looking at me because I'm black, they're looking at me because I'm a woman and older, and I just struggle a bit. But then I get myself together, like I work through it. I go, okay, I am who I am. But it hasn't always been easy. When I was younger, I went to college. There was a lot of overt racism like there is now, with signs and people calling people names. And first time I ever was called the N-word, it was like, what is that? So you get to ask me a question. Because you don't have to wait till the person finishes, just kind of, there's a pause. You're going to ask any question like why, when, tell me more, anything to make me keep going. Tell me more. Tell me more about something. You got to tell me more about something.
About growing up.
Oh, good. Okay, so then that's what I would do. Are you ready? Yes. So what you're trying to do is give this person of yourself. You're trying to get this person to understand who you are. So A is going to talk, B is going to practice. I'm going to put the timer on for 4 minutes. Go. Okay. Now people just smile. You say to the person, thank you for sharing, because help me learn better, help me, it expanded what I think, because she did expand what I think. And then we're going to switch. So the person who was listening, raise your hand if you were listening. Did you ask good questions? She did. I could hear some of that. Like, did you say why or when or tell me more? Doesn't that make the conversation like feel better when the person is really like listening and asking you a daggone thing versus, don't you sometimes talk to people and go, did you hear me at all? Like, did you hear anything I said? Because they start, okay, so you're going to do the acknowledgement and then you're going to switch, right? So for a minute, do you mind, because I'm going to walk around, can you join, can she come up there and join him? Because she told the story, so maybe he can tell the story. Go. And I'm going to be, okay, go.
Yes,
Didn't want to stop, did you? No, we didn't. So I hate that it was just this time. I'm hoping that often we do things in schools. Would you all be willing to come during school one time to continue these conversations?
Of course.
With other people? Because here's the truth. The more we talk through these things, like who we are and how we see the world, we just touch the surface. We didn't even get to like the hard stuff about things are. But the more you do it and the more you practice those 3 P's and an A, the better you're going to be able to talk across difference. Because I'll say it again, in this country, my experience is most white people, these are teachers that have told me this and other people, are not used to talking about race, right? They don't get up in the morning and say, you know, I'm white and this is what it means. Most people of color have conversations in your family about this. Raise your hand if that's true. About who you are, and what it means, and what it means to be in this world. And so when you talk across that, some people it's very uncomfortable. For me, I love to talk. I've been talking about race since I was probably 5 or 6 when my grandmother talked about being black and growing up in Camden. So I've always talked about race, and so I'm comfortable with it. So what I'm trying to do in this work is get folks to be what? Comfortable. So I need you to stand up. We're going to end with my favorite good job, good job. Just stand up where you are. It's not going to move and it's not going to make you feel bad. But I'm known for it, so I can't not do it. When I finish anything, I go, good job, good job, good job, good job. G-O-O-D-J-O-B, good job. I spell good job. Don't get that. G-O-O-D-J-O-B. Let's go. Good job, good job, good job, good job. G-O-O-D-J-O-B, good job, good job. Yay! Thank you. Thank you. I need all my